Hey everybody, welcome to the Robert Bruton Outdoor Show. I'm your host, Robert Bruton, and as you can see all around me, I am in a redwood fifth wheel, and this is an incredibly beautiful full-timers fifth wheel, and that's what we're talking about today, full-time RVing. Okay, so there's some things that you need to know about full-time RVing, and this is going to be, if you are a full-time RVer, this video, as much as I don't want to drive you away, you're welcome to watch it, but this is kind of a beginner's. This is going to be full-time in 101. Some things to think about when we go out shopping, and some things to think about in the truck that we're pulling with, and some things to think about when we get on the road. So where to go, what to do, and that kind of thing. So we're probably going to bust this up in a couple of different series here on the site, because I don't want to keep you on some really long-winded video where you're going, oh my God, this guy's boring me to death. All right, so we'll break it up into some sections and let you guys pick and choose what you want to watch. But today is really a very basic video. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this trailer. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about what trailer to buy, other than, you know, if you're going to full-time, you probably will do better if your budget allows for it in a fifth wheel. The fifth wheel is going to be a more open space. It has higher ceilings. It's not necessarily bigger as far as the width and things like that than a pull-behind trailer. You can get wide-body pull-behind trailers that are pretty big, but this, you know, when you open up the roof and you've got that height in the roof, it really opens up the space quite nicely. You're also going to get a little bit bigger slide, you know, like in this particular, I love this trailer. I shoot some videos in this trailer a lot, because this is a really beautiful coach. You know, if you're gonna full-time and you want a full-time in luxury and you want to have the same thing as your custom home, this is a great trailer to consider. Okay, you know, the Keystone Montana is another wonderful trailer that I really am very impressed with. But this redwood, I really like this redwood. This has got some really nice stuff, and the dealer that I do a lot of stuff with just became a dealer for this, and it is absolutely a beautiful trailer. So anyway, what you want to do when you start thinking about full-time RVing, okay? Now here's a big thing. Obviously some of you are going to say, I want to go to a state park, I want to visit Yellowstone, I want to go to Yosemite, I want to go see the redwoods, I want to go, you know, here, there, wherever, you know, you want to go into the wine country and stuff like that. So you know, if budget's not a problem and you go out and you start buying all this stuff, you know, you got to think about, there are length restrictions for trailers going into big national parks like Yellowstone, for example. Okay, that you can't take a big giant fifth wheel, you can't take a 40-foot fifth wheel into a lot of places. So before, and I'm not trying to take away from you buying a trailer like this, but know, kind of figure out before you go buy, because there are trailers in this class, okay, that will be at a length that are acceptable to a state or national park. So don't fret. You can find some stuff that that's going to work. I can't get past that silly light. I'm kind of walking around and talking, and I'm just kind of, hopefully you'll see behind me some of the rooms that I'm walking through, like I'm in the restroom now, kind of walking through. Oops, I don't want to go in there, because then we just get all combobulated in the darkness. All right, so let's get back out here in the coach. So kind of figure out, talk with your significant other, your spouse, okay, and decide what you want to see in the country, okay? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to stay, you know? And then call some of these places and find out what are the restrictions as far as length and height, because you don't want to get somewhere. And here's the one thing that will ruin a trailer real quick. If you get somewhere and you have to drag tree limbs over the roof, not only is that going to degrade the roof material, if you rip the roof material, that's a big problem. And RV roofs are very expensive to replace. So keep that in mind. So think about all the places that you would want to go, and think about the size of the trailer and how much room you're going to have, how much height you're going to have, and kind of make some calls on that before you go shopping. Don't go fall in love with a beautiful trailer, because it's real easy to go out and fall in love with a trailer. Believe me, that's why I'm in this one all the time, because I just love it to death. Okay, if I was going to trade my trailer and get another fifth wheel, this might be the one. So just saying. So know where you're going to go, and kind of plan out how you want to spend your retirement, or how you want to spend your time in the fifth wheel, and make sure that the fifth wheel that you have doesn't prevent you from, you end up in Livingston, Montana, and you want to drive south through Yellowstone and end up in Jackson, Wyoming, and find out that you can't because you can't take your trailer in because it's too big. That would be a real bad thing to find out after you've spent all this money. So what I'm suggesting to you is make sure that you kind of figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to see. Call these places, ask about their restrictions and things like that. Because if you're going to go just set up at a campground somewhere, you're fine in just about any trailer, okay? But if you're going to go through, and especially like if you started at Livingston, Montana, and drive down south through Jackson, Wyoming, and you want to go into the Tetons and all that kind of stuff, that you need to find out what are the restrictions. The reason I'm not telling you what they are is because if there's been any changes or anything like that, get it straight from. I don't want you to say I watched that silly video from that guy and he told us that we could take our 40-foot trailer down through Yellowstone and you have to be at 37 feet. A lot of places you have to be 36, 37 feet with the trailer. And, is there a little latitude there? Probably, but you also want to remember that a lot of times you're on a single lane road or you're on a double lane road and there's not much margin for error at all, okay? Down here in the Texas Hill Country, driving up through the Hill Country, man, you can get real bound up real quick in a big old long fifth wheel because as you're going through the Hill Country, the roads go really, really sharp. And I was sitting there going through, and I wasn't pulling my trailer, but I was pulling a smaller trailer, and I was like, man, if I had my big fifth wheel, I would be in big trouble right here. And so, just kind of plan out before you go shopping. So these are some things that, because we are talking about beginning full-time RVing, these are some things I want you to think about. Also want you to think about the weight of the trailer and the truck. Short wheelbase 3/4 ton trucks are nice, but they don't pull nearly as well as a long wheelbase. And everybody's, I don't want a long wheelbase truck. Well, if you buy a 1-ton truck, guess what you're getting? A long wheelbase truck. So what's the difference? Okay, if you can pull with a 3/4 ton truck and you're looking at a 3/4 ton truck, I would, for my money, I would get a long box. If I'm going to pull a trailer and it's 3/4 ton towable, for my money, I'm pulling a long box. It's more stable. It's going to feel a lot smoother when you're driving down the road. When your trailer's chucking, it's not going to be nearly as bad. We'll talk about kingpins and things like that in a future video about what you can do to make that ride a little bit nicer, because fifth wheels do tend to push and pull on a truck. So when you have a longer wheelbase, you can get a little bit more stable of a ride. So I would consider that before I go out and buy anything. You need to know these things and research these things. So watch the video again and take some notes, okay? The next thing you'll want to know is what kind of budget you have, where you're going, where you're going to be in the winter time. Do I need what they call a 4-season coach, where I need some protection on the underbelly, I need some protection from freezing conditions, okay, and snow. So these are all things that you kind of need to have some plan. You want to think about owning an RV and full time and then being able to go, man, I want to be able to get up and go, okay? Well, if you're in Montana and it starts snowing, or if you're in Seattle and it's freezing cold, you want to be able to know that your coach is safe. So these are all things that, depending on if you're going to pull up into Alaska, pull up into Canada, know these things before you start out, okay? Or before you go buy a coach, all right? And make sure that you're getting a good quality coach. Here's the thing. If you're going to full-time, I'm not saying that budget budget needs to not be as big a concern as quality of construction, okay? So make sure that whatever fifth wheel that you're considering, that you look at reviews, go to sites where you can see what people are saying about it, you know, forums and things like that. You know, there's like for example, Keystone, Montana, which is an amazing fifth wheel, great full-timers coach. Okay, they have a lot of folks that go out on forums and talk about all kinds of stuff. So you'll be able to find a lot of stuff about that coach. You know, I'm not endorsing or saying one's better than the other, but do your research, okay? And make sure that people that are full-time and that you're talking to those people and at them. So, you know, when you're considering this is going to take a little bit of time. This is not an impulse buy, okay? Like, for example, the coach that I'm sitting in, the MSRP on this coach is $149,000. That is not money that you want to just go out and go, hey, let's go buy. We bought a Redwood today, you know, or we bought a Mobile Suites today. We bought, you know, and you spend all that money before, and then you find out it's not even close to being the right coach, okay? Yes, it's a full-timers coach, and yes, it's got all kinds of cool stuff in it, absolutely, but that's not your biggest concerns, okay? Your biggest concerns is, can I get it into where I want to go, okay? What a sad thing. If you spend $150,000, okay, or $100,000 on a fifth wheel, then you find out half the places you wanted to go visit, your trailer can't go because it's too big. Okay, so food for thought, all right? Do some research. Call these places, find out what you can do. There are coaches available in these product lines that are gonna get you in and out of state and national parks with ease. So don't fret. You're gonna find this level of coach. You're gonna find a lot of fifth wheels that'll get you in and out of state parks just fine. Just know where you're gonna go before you spend your money. All right, and the other thing is how long are you going to be gone? Make sure that when you're talking with your local dealer, that you find out, does this have a full-timer's warranty? You'll find that if now here's where I want to make sure that I'm kind of clear. If you have a home base, if you still have your home, okay, and you go out and let's say that you're going to be gone 90% of the time, okay, that's not full-time status. Full-time status is if you're actually living out of the coach, okay? So here's the thing. A lot of banks will not do a loan for a full-time coach, okay? So you have to find, if you're going to be that person, then you need to find out what lenders will do full-timers. You know, I know a lot of credit unions, my own credit union, they don't care what I do with my trailer as long as I pay for it. All right, doesn't matter if I live in it, doesn't matter if I use it for camping. They don't care as long as I make my payments. Same thing on insurance. You need to be able to, if you're gonna live in it, you can get what they call full-timers insurance, okay? Or you can tell them, hey, I'm in it about 80-90% of the time, then I go home, okay? That's not a full-timer situation, but you have to be careful because a lot of banks, if you use the word full-time, they will not do a loan for you. And I'm suggesting that if you have a home base, you tell them, no, I still got the house. We're still living in the house. We're just not going to be there very much, okay? We're going to get this trailer and we're going to go see the world. That's cool. That's completely okay. Okay, but if you're gonna full-time, you need to look at what lenders will do full-timers, and that way, because it becomes a completely different animal when you tell them you're living in it, okay? So do your research on that before you go out and start saying, well, we're gonna full-time RV, okay? But if you still have a house and you got turned down for your loan because you told them you were gonna full-time RV, well, you just shot yourself in the foot, okay? Because you're not really doing that. You're gonna come home sometime. Okay, you got to check on the house sometime, and you're probably going to be there for the holidays or if the weather gets, you know, bad or that kind of thing. So think about these things. These are all very important issues that can come up when you go to buy an RV, okay? Especially if you're going to use it for, and I call it most of the time, you know, not full time, but I'm going to be in it a lot of the time. You know, unless you're just absolutely sold everything lock, stock, and barrel, and everything you own's in this fifth wheel. You need to talk to your insurance. You need to talk to insurance providers, and you need to talk to banks and lenders before and tell them what you're going to do. Okay, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Okay, with a miscommunication. All right, that's what I'm saying. Don't miscommunicate to the bank, and don't miscommunicate to the insurance. All right, you can let them know you're full-timing, but make sure that that's the kind of loans that they make. And there are lenders out there and insurance companies out there, don't fret, that will do full-timers. Okay, another thing is, if you tell them you're full-timing in some fifth wheel brands, you can void your factory warranty. Okay, so again, if you have a home base, you are not a full-timer. Okay, if you are living in this 100% of the time, then you need to talk to them about an extended service plan that includes full-time living. Okay, so that you have coverage for your coach, so that you don't void your warranty. And that's another reason why I like Keystone brand, is because they do have full-timer warranties on their Montana. Okay, so take a look at that, and find out what is going to best suit you and your family. All right. Then what you need to look at is quality of construction. You're going to find the same floor plan in whether you're buying a pull-behind trailer or you're buying a fifth wheel. You're going to find the same floor plan in about 24 different models, 24 different things. Keep in mind, there are two major manufacturers of RVs in the United States. There's Forest River and there's Thor. And down below them, it's like General Motors. Down below them, there's Chevrolet, there's Buick, there's not Pontiac anymore, but GMC, and that's the way that it goes down. Okay, well, same thing in the RV business. There's going to be the big GM, the Forest River and Thor, okay, and then all down below them is going to be, like for Thor, is going to be Keystone and a bunch of other models and brands. Okay, so you can find stuff, but my point to all this is you may say, man, I saw this other fifth wheel, it's the same floor plan, and it's $5,000 cheaper. Okay, why? Why is it $5,000 cheaper? So those are questions. Don't, I love that scene in oh my gosh, now I can't think of it. I'll think of it in a minute. I'll come back to it. But anyway, they're sitting in the rocket getting ready to go get the meteor, and the guy sits there and goes, how do you feel? You're sitting on 300,000 gallons of the most flammable liquid known to man, and it was built by the cheapest vendor, and that's the whole thing is don't sit there and go, well, I can get this for $5,000 cheaper. There's got to be a reason why you're getting it for $5,000 cheaper. Okay, and so take a look at that. Don't, I'm not saying that you got to go out and buy the most expensive thing. No, go buy the best built thing. Okay, go buy the best built trailer. If you can find the quality of construction, you need to look, research, and find out what kind of, like, for example, and I'm going to brag on Keystone for a minute. Most of their trailers are all built on frames that are built specifically for that model. Okay, a lot of frames that other manufacturers use are just, hey, I need a 30-foot frame and I need 1,000 of them, or 2,000 of them, or 10,000 of them. Okay, they don't have the proper stress and structure to handle the stress. So that's why, for example, Keystone has a 3-year, and the reason I'm talking about Keystone, because I'm sitting in a Keystone product, so I might as well brag on them a minute. I own a Keystone product, so but the frame, the has a 3-year structural warranty with it. So that's that says something about the frame. And these are all things you need to dig up underneath a trailer. You need to know, because what's going to happen going down the road is your trailer's going through a little mini earthquake. So you need to think about, if you're going to be pulling to Alaska, from Alaska down to Key West, to Miami, back from Miami out to LA, LA up to Seattle, Seattle over to Montana, Montana out to the upper New York, and go up through the wine country and the in northern New York. You know, and that's a beautiful drive. I've made it. It's amazingly gorgeous. If you've never been up that way, I didn't know that in Corning, New York, because I've always had Corning plates at the house of some semblance or somewhere. You know, my grandmother had it, and I remember it's you know, we got to Corning, New York, and I just stupidly thought, well, I wonder if they make the plates there, and I was just making a joke to myself, and sure enough, that's where they make, you know, the plates and things. So, you know, you find fun stuff like that out on the road. So, you know, we've been in this video about 20 minutes. I'm going to do a few more, so don't fret, you know, about full timing, you know, but hey guys, sorry about that. There was a little technical difficulty there, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll just start over, not start completely over, but you'll just notice there was a little fade in there, and I kind of had to start over. So sorry for the technical glitch. We'll get kind of back into what I was talking about, which is full-time RVing and the things that you need to think about, you know. So I guess let me just kind of recap real quick, because I want to cut this off and do it in bits and pieces. So when you get ready to think about doing a full-time RV, you want to think about your truck. Wheelbase is a big deal, okay? Think about the weight that you're going to be pulling. Think about the areas that you're going to go, and what if there are any height or length restrictions when you go to these places, especially if it's a big deal place that you want to go. And I have been through Yellowstone Park twice. Was started in Livingston, Montana, went down to Jackson Hole, and it's cool. I mean, you just are going, wow, this is in America. This is about as cool as it gets. So it's beautiful, and I highly recommend it, but I do know that there are some length and height restrictions as far as going in and out of the park. So, and you're going to be in places where you're going to have tight curves and things like that, so you really kind of need to know what you're doing and where you're going. So keep up with that. The other thing that you want to do is think about what your budget's going to be, how much money you want to spend, how long you're going to be using the RV. Do you want service warranties and things like that? We're going to get into things like that here in the next couple of videos, because I really want to talk more about full-time RVing. It's a totally cool experience. It's a whole bunch of fun. You know, you're able to get out and see the world, and you pretty much can just stop just about anywhere, and you know, there's a campground, and voila, you're there ready to go. A lot of campers are self-contained, where you can have a generator or not have a generator. This particular Redwood has a generator on it. It has a 5,500 watt Onan generator, so it is completely self-contained. If you threw some water in this, you could live off the grid for, you know, as long as your water and food held out. So and your propane, it is a propane generator that runs the coach. So anyway, we're not going to get into all that, but these are some few basic things and some kind of full-timer 101 stuff that I wanted to just put out there. If you have any more questions, there's a way to reach me down below. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, please, by all means, if you can, hit that like button and subscribe to us. We appreciate it very much, and you'll get the first look at everything that we do. I'm going to have links to our website, all our blog posts, and all our information. We'll talk about all kinds of cool stuff as we come up. So anyway, this is Robert Bruton with Robert Bruton Outdoors, and I appreciate very much your time, and we'll talk again soon. Happy camping.